everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about getting started with QuickBooks Online. So this is definitely a big topic of interest, we know, for a lot of our designers and builders. My name is Katie. I'm on the product marketing team. So I work closely with our customers to understand how you're using Houzz Pro. And then I also work with our product and engineering teams to make sure that we're building the right products for you. So thanks so much for joining us. I'm with my colleague Andy, who will introduce herself as well. Just a few housekeeping items. We will be sharing this recording afterwards, so don't feel like you need to take notes. And as we're going through, feel free to add any questions into that chat panel or the Q&A tab, and we'll do our best to answer them. So Andy, do you want to introduce yourself and then dive in?
Yes, thank you, Katie. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Nelson. I am a QuickBooks Online expert and also on the product marketing team here at Houzz. Very excited to go through our Houzz Pro QuickBooks Online integration with you. So let's get started. I will go ahead and share my screen. All right. So before we dive in, a couple of things that I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention about the integration. So the Houzz Pro QuickBooks Online integration is a one-way sync, meaning all of your project financials, your documents, estimates, proposals, invoices, payments, vendor payments, customer payments, all of that is managed in Houzz Pro and pushes over to QuickBooks Online. So it is not a two-way sync. Changes made in QuickBooks will not update in Houzz Pro. So you want to do all your project management in Houzz Pro and have it seamlessly push into QuickBooks Online. We integrate with QuickBooks Online only. We do integrate with all versions of QuickBooks Online. We recommend the Plus version, which will enable purchase order sync from Houzz Pro to your QuickBooks account. So before we dive into Houzz Pro, I'd like to start off in QuickBooks so we can go over a few settings and items that need to be set up before you integrate. So in your QuickBooks Online account, what you'll want to do is come over here to the gear. And we're going to go to the settings section. This may say company settings or account and settings, but you'll essentially want to go into your QuickBooks Online settings. And the first thing we're going to do is come over here to sales on the left. And you'll want to make sure up here under sales form content, you have shipping turned on. This will ensure that sales tax is properly calculated in QuickBooks on your invoices. Then you can click Save. Next, we'll come over to expenses. And if you are going to be using purchase orders, if you want them syncing from Houzz Pro to QuickBooks, you'll want to make sure that Use Purchase Orders is turned on. The last section here is advanced. This is very important. You want to come down to the automation section right here and make sure that all of these buttons are turned off. So these should all be off. This just essentially prevents QuickBooks from automatically applying unapplied payments or credits to older invoices. It lets Houzz Pro and you dictate how payments are applied. And then once that's done, don't forget to click Save, and then we can click Done or exit out. The next thing you'll want to do is come over here to Taxes and to Sales Tax. In order to integrate Houzz Pro and QuickBooks Online, you do need to have your automated sales tax center set up. That's the auto sales tax center, not the old sales tax center that you might see in some older versions of QuickBooks Online. Even if you don't collect sales tax for your business from your clients, this will need to be set up. And as long as items are not marked taxable, then you will not see tax in QuickBooks. So once that's done, the last area we want to go is over here under transactions to the chart of accounts. You'll just want to make sure, maybe you have a brand new QuickBooks Online account. You'll want to make sure that your checking account and any credit cards you have are set up here. If you need to add an account, you can just do that right here. Add your bank account, credit card, American Express, and so on. Okay, now that QuickBooks is ready to go, we're going to come over here to Houzz Pro. Where do you access your QuickBooks Online settings, your dashboard? It is all housed right here on the left navigation bar under the Financials tab. And you'll just click QuickBooks Online Dashboard. I'll show you quickly what it looks like, what you'll see when you go to your QuickBooks Online dashboard. If you are not yet connected to QuickBooks, you'll see this screen. We've got our mapping tutorial video that you can watch linked here. And of course, those settings that we just talked about are all listed here. But you'll simply click the connect button and then follow the prompts to connect to your QuickBooks account. Once you are connected, you will see your QuickBooks Online dashboard. We're going to come back to this in a minute because first I want to talk about your settings. It's very important that the settings and the mapping is done as soon as you connect. So once you connect, your very next step should be coming up here to the QuickBooks Online settings, clicking that. And now we'll go through your general settings and your account mapping. So here we have our historic sync date, meaning maybe you've been on Houzz Pro for 6 months or so, you just got QuickBooks Online, you're integrating the two, and you want to historically sync previous documents and payments and projects that were already in Houzz Pro prior to your connection. Before we change that date, though, let's go through our settings and our mapping, then we'll come back here and we can change this. So first we have payment settings. We do have, if you forget or you're in the middle of mapping, you can click this info button for more details. But we have the option to either map to sales receipts or unapplied payments. What this means is when you record a estimate payment or a retainer payment not on an invoice, on one of those other two documents, you can have that payment sync to your QuickBooks account as a sales receipt, which will not be counted as income, but it will show an increase to a liability account. Once it's applied to an invoice, it then moves into the income account. Or you can choose unapplied payments, which will count that money as income in QuickBooks, and you won't see the liability. You've also got document sync exceptions here. So if you don't want purchase orders syncing, you can simply toggle that on. If you don't want change orders to sync, same thing. And then down here, you can split in QuickBooks, you can split the markup from the cost. So on your documents in QuickBooks, you would see two line items, the original item and its dollar amount, and then the markup for that item as a secondary line item. And then of course, click this button right here that you acknowledge these changes will only impact future syncs and not retroactively, and then click Save. So coming over here to account mapping, we've got several fields. I'll just go through these. We've got our deposit account. So this would typically be if you're using undeposited funds to hold your payments until you can, you go in and mark them deposited, or you can simply map directly to your checking account. This means payments received from clients will sync directly into your checking account register. And then very important, so we talked about those sales receipts. You've got your retainer deposit account. This should always be a liability account. So if you opt to have sales receipts push over to QuickBooks, then they will show in the liability account of your choice. I have left the default, which is Houzz Pro retainer deposit account. We've got our bill payment account. So when you record payment to a vendor on a purchase order, you would set your default checking account. and then your default credit card account that you pay vendors from. We also have custom mapping. So let's say you have a Citibank MasterCard, but you also have an American Express card, a Home Depot card, and you'd like to be able to choose between those different cards when you're recording that purchase order payment. You can add custom mapping here. You can see we've got other options, and then map it to the bank or credit card of your choice. We've got our vendor tax mapping. Essentially, this is when you're creating a purchase order and then you mark that you paid tax to your vendor at purchase. When you mark that purchase order billed, it will create a line item for the sales tax tracked in this expense account right here. So you can easily run reports in QuickBooks to see what you've paid in sales tax to your vendors. And then right here, this is simply just your accounts payable account. You can leave the Houzz Pro default, or you can choose the accounts payable account if it's set up in your QuickBooks. You will see these Houzz Pro default accounts. You will see those created in your chart of accounts in QuickBooks when you connect. So you don't need to go and create these. You can use these defaults, but again, of course, you want to map to your own checking here, or undeposited funds, or your checking or credit card here. All right, product mapping. So again, we see the Houzz Pro defaults right here. You're welcome to choose another account if you maybe want to use sales of product income. And then we've got our expense account. So this is a cost of goods sold account. This is the default for all of your products. But you can come down here to mapping by category. Maybe you want to see a granular profit and loss report in QuickBooks. You want to see how you're doing in electrical sales or flooring. Whatever categories you have created in Houzz Pro, you can break those out here, map them, and then map them to the income and expense accounts of your choice. And again, that just gives you a detailed profit and loss report. You will see electrical income and cost broken out separately from sales of product income or cost of goods sold. And you'll want to create these, any accounts you would like to map to that you don't have set up in QuickBooks, you would simply create those in QuickBooks. For example, I created electrical income and electrical cost in my chart of accounts and then came here and mapped these. We also have cost code mapping, and it functions similarly to category mapping. If you have cost codes set up, you can choose the cost code here and then choose the income and expense account right here. Services will function pretty much the same way. You have your defaults. We do have shipping mapping broken out. So when you add shipping to a line item, if you'd like to see that broken out in your QuickBooks financial reports, then you'll want to map that separately here. And again, if you don't have shipping income or shipping cost in QuickBooks, just set those up in the chart of accounts and then map it here. And again, you can see I've mapped out a couple of categories, and then if I want, I can map out cost codes right down there. All right. We also have vendor and subcontractor mapping. If you have an existing QuickBooks account and you want to map a vendor you've created in Houzz Pro to a vendor in QuickBooks, you can do that here if you have that vendor already set up in your QuickBooks account. And then, of course, you've got your connection page here with all your details. Now, going back to our settings, now, once your mapping's all done, you can change that sync date if you'd like to retroactively sync documents that have already been created in Houzz Pro prior to your connection date. All right, let's go over to the dashboard. So this is where you're going to see the sync status of all of your documents, your payments. You may even see projects and customers, clients here. But as you can see, we've got the sync status here, sync complete. not ready for sync, and it will indicate here, once sent, paid, or issued, this invoice will automatically sync with QuickBooks. You also have the option here to hover, click the three dots, and sync now. You could sync multiple items at once by just using the checkbox here and coming up to the top right corner, sync selected items. You can also disable sync if needed, or click show related items. And what that will do, it will show you the project, the customer, if there's other documents or payments that relate to this particular one, you'll see that here. If for any reason there's a sync issue or an error, maybe a document was accidentally deleted in QuickBooks after it was synced from Houzz Pro, you would see a red bar up here with a link to click on those sync issues and then go in and investigate, see why they weren't synced, why there's an error. And over under details, it will give you the details of that error. So you can troubleshoot on your own without having to contact support. We've also got tons of filters. So if you want to filter by document or payment type, all the different sync statuses, the date filter you can do by project, and so on. You can also search here as well. So let's go into one of our projects. All right. So what do documents look like? What does it look like once it goes from Houzz Pro into QuickBooks? You can see here we've got one of our estimates. This is a partially paid estimate. We've got all of our information here, our payment. Let's go take a look in QuickBooks. So here in my customers section of QuickBooks, you can see I've got the client, and then indented under the client is the project. This is set up as a sub-customer. So your client will sync over and be created in QuickBooks. And then your project will sync over and be created as a sub-customer of that client. You can see here, we've got our documents, that sales receipt I talked about earlier. We've got our estimate here. You'll see the HZ on the end as well, indicating that it's a document that's synced from Houzz Pro. And then you've got all the same information. Let's close that. You've got your line items, tax, and everything matches up. Now, it's important to note when you create a client or you create a project, it's not automatically created in QuickBooks. Once you've created a document or a payment and that has synced to QuickBooks, then your client and your sub-customer or project are created. For proposals or estimates, once they're approved, once they're sent to the client or marked paid, they will sync to your QuickBooks account, or you have the option to sync a draft copy from the sync indicator. You can see here on this document, it shows sync complete. If we go back here, you've got, let's see if we'll create a new proposal so you can see what that sync indicator looks like. So we've got not ready for sync, and it will tell you there are no items. Let's add an item. Okay. All right. So now, once approved or paid, it will automatically sync, or on all of our documents, estimates or proposals, purchase orders, and invoices, you can sync the draft version as well. For invoices, once they are issued, marked paid, that will sync them over to your QuickBooks account. Purchase orders, once they're marked billed or billed and paid or approved, they will sync to QuickBooks. And you can also, like I said, sync your draft version here. So coming over here, an important area that we need to look at in QuickBooks is your dashboard. So now you've set up your mapping, you've done your, adjusted your sync date, you've got documents and transactions pushing over to QuickBooks, your clients are showing up, your sub-customers. Now, how do we handle the QuickBooks bank feed? The QuickBooks Online bank feed is where you would connect your bank account or your credit card. You connect them real time. So transactions as they post to your bank or your credit card are downloading here. And this is a holding space where you can go in, you can categorize, maybe it's travel, auto expenses, things like that. But it's very, very important for you or your accountant, if they're handling this part of your books, it's important to note that Houzz Pro transactions, so money received from clients or money paid to vendors, needs to be matched and never categorized and added. So I'll show you some examples here in the checking account. We've got Lyft, travel, perfect. This is a non-project related expense, more of a overhead expense. So we can go ahead, it's already categorized for me, and just add that. Now we've got, here's a payment, money received, and I know that this is an online payment a client made through Houzz Pro. So what you'll do here, there's no match, so we don't want to just categorize it and add it. We want to click on it, click match, and then we're going to look for that payment. Why am I looking for the payment? Because the processing fees for the online payment were actually taken out of what was deposited to my bank account. I opted to cover those fees for my client. It gets taken out of the lump sum deposit that goes into my bank account. I need to find that payment here and then offset the processing fees. So you can see here, I've selected my payment and I can see that there's a difference right here. To your left, if needed, resolve the difference. You can click, You can click that. You can plug in the client name if you like. Make sure to code it to the right expense account, not an income account, but your bank charges and fee account. And then we'll plug in the difference and then click match. You can see here also that I have bill payments. So I recorded payment to a vendor, so I can match that. We've got another payment that's matching up. So this was an exact payment I recorded in Houzz Pro. The client paid it. It came through my bank account, so I can simply match that. What you don't want to match to are directly to invoices. The idea is you have your invoice in Houzz Pro, even if you get a paper check or like you saw, they Venmo or they Zelle you a payment, that should be recorded in Houzz Pro so that the payment syncs to QuickBooks Online and then you match. So if you see an invoice as the match, it could be that maybe the payment didn't get recorded in Houzz Pro, so you don't want to match to invoices. You can also use that match feature if, let's say you're taking online payments through Houzz and 2 clients pay you the same day. Those 2 payments will be lumped together. You can look at your online payments report in Houzz Pro, see what 2 payments were made, and then use that match, click the transaction, use the match button to go in and select those multiple payments that make up that lump sum deposit. And we'll do the same thing here. Same thing with the credit card. You can categorize your overhead, office expenses, anything that's not project related, and then be sure to match to your bill payments here. All right. So I think that is pretty much everything we need to cover. Do we have some questions that have come through?
Yes, thank you so much, Andy. Let's see what we have here. Um, can you just reiterate again? I think you mentioned this in the beginning, but is it a one-way sync between Houzz and QuickBooks?
Yes, it is a one-way sync. So while you can, as everyone saw, you can see the chart of accounts from Houzz Pro, but that is strictly just for mapping purposes. All changes, updates, maybe you've created an estimate and you need to add something to it. You don't want to do that in QuickBooks. You want to do that in Houzz Pro, and it will be updated in QuickBooks. So everything should be managed project-wise in Houzz. It will push to QuickBooks, sync to QuickBooks, or update in QuickBooks accordingly.
Okay, great. This is another good one. I know I've gotten this one before as well. Can you just explain a little bit about basically why do you need both Houzz Pro and QuickBooks, and what are some of the things that you would do in one and not the other?
Yes. So as many of you probably know, QuickBooks is great. It is one of the best accounting softwares out there. It's everything you need to manage your books from a financial standpoint. Houzz Pro, however, has all of our wonderful features, our selections tracker, our 3D floor planner, mood boards, the budget, just scheduling, all of those features that our pros love to manage their projects, client dashboard. So the best thing about the two is you do everything start to finish. All your communication with your client is through Houzz Pro. They're seeing where their project's at, updated real time. All of our features are there for you to manage your projects. And then it just all seamlessly pushes into QuickBooks, where you're not only managing your project finances, but you're getting the full picture for your business, your overhead, your payroll, anything that's not in Houzz Pro, that's not project related. So essentially, it's Houzz Pro's making the contractor, the designer's life easy. The integration with QuickBooks is making your accountant's life easy, and everybody's essentially happy.
Okay, awesome. How long does this setup typically take?
So connecting Houzz Pro and QuickBooks Online is super quick. It's less than a minute, if that. As you saw, everyone saw, if it's a new QuickBooks account, even if it's an existing QuickBooks account, you just want to go through and check those settings, make sure sales tax is the updated automatic sales tax, check your settings like I went through in the beginning. Make sure your accounts that you need are in your chart of accounts. If you want to do that granular profit and loss reporting, make sure you set up your kitchen and bath income or whatever accounts you want. Connecting, like I said, is very quick. Doing your mapping, I'd say, depending on how granular you're getting, less than 30 minutes to get everything set up.
Okay, awesome. And when would you recommend is the best time to do that integration?
I
Like,
would
is
say
it right as you're getting started in Houzz Pro? Is it once you have a few projects underway?
it would be right when you get started in Houzz Pro. It makes sense to me to just connect from the get-go. Like everyone saw, you can change your sync date. So like if you've been working in Houzz Pro, you didn't have a QuickBooks, or you're using another software for your accounting, or you just didn't have the two connected, you can do that historic sync to push the existing data, pre-connection data to QuickBooks. But I'd say if you're ready to go with both systems, just connect them. Important, again, I'll always, drive this one home. Do the mapping when you connect. Make sure the mapping's done so you don't have any issues of where transactions are flowing into QuickBooks.
Okay, awesome. And Andy, maybe if you just want to wrap up with a little plug for our accountant certification program.
Yes. And two things. So we do have a QuickBooks integration expert team that's there for support. If you are new to the integration, have never talk to one of our integration experts, you do get a complimentary call. And then, of course, if there's for any reason a bug or an issue like that, we are always there to support support our pros. But if you need, you want to train your bookkeeper, or you need added support, or you have further questions, again, we have that complimentary call available. And yes, our accountants program is excellent. If you are an accountant or you have an amazing accountant, we have an accounting partnership program. There's a couple components to it. They can sign up to be a partner. So they can get basically commission bonuses on any new clients that they refer to us that sign a contract. They can also get Houzz Pro accounting certified, and you get an actual badge stating Houzz Pro accounting certified, and then opportunity to be featured on our vendor portal, because a lot of pros will go to our vendor portal looking for business coaches or someone assistants, things like that, and we do have a section for bookkeepers and accountants. We have that as well.
Awesome. I think that's it for questions.
Great. Well, thanks so much, everyone. I hope it was helpful, and thank you, Katie, for helping out. Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, thanks everyone so much for joining.